Do you believe this stuff that's coming out of your mouth? There's no way you do it.
This was a credit card cuckold.
Love wins out in the end, you know?
Welcome back, everybody. That is PGA professional Douglas Wade. This is non-PGA professional Casey Wandell. Welcome to the Casey on Tap platform. And what's on tap this evening? It is Friday, October the 18th of the year 2024. In the Miracle Guardians, can they do it again against the Yankees? We shall see. The Ohio State football Buckeyes on a bye week this week. We'll ask Doug, how high should the panic meter be for Buckeye Nation right now after that 1-point loss in a raucous Eugene, Oregon environment that I just came home from? Of course, we have our winners, college football winners, NFL winners. We have the mailbag, and Doug's going to tease a little bit of Season 7, Love is Blind, at the end of the program. But first and foremost, Douglas, we have breaking news. We have breaking news out of Williamson County, Tennessee. Former Vanderbilt Commodore, standout quarterback, former Chicago Bear, former Miami Dolphin, and former reality television star Jay Cutler arrested for DUI and gun possession in Williamson County, Tennessee. So congratulations, Jay Cutler. Fantastic decision-making. Human nature is alive and well. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, don't. Just don't. You've got Uber, you've got Lyft. Don't put a gun in your car, get loaded, and start driving around. There's my intro. Douglas, how you doing down there in Cincinnati, my man?
Hey, we're doing great. We're doing wonderful. A few bad days of weather turned around to a nice day today. We've got the Guardians with a magical win last night. I mean, it was like watching Major League happen in real life. It was incredible.
Doug, playoff baseball, is there anything like it?
No, it's completely different. I mean, you just hang on every pitch.
Onward to, actually, before we get to college football, let's quickly say hello to our new places, new faces, Douglas, because you and I are doing something right. I don't know what it is. We suck. You know we suck. I know we suck, but we're growing like a fungus, and recently it's been growing like crazy. So just want to say hello to all you new people. There's plenty of you out there. In the top of the list, the most recent downloads come from Loveland, Ohio. Your neck of the woods, Doug, I believe. Chicago, Illinois, the Windy City, Knoxville, Tennessee, Seattle, Washington, and, of course, Portland, Oregon, where we were last week, leading us right into the Ohio State football Buckeyes, right? I went to the game. It was one of, in my opinion, I've been to a lot of live sporting events. The experience that took place in Eugene, Oregon was unlike any college football game I can I mean, it's the future of production. It's the future of fan interaction. It was really, really something, Douglas. But as you know, Buckeye Nation is they're a little spoiled. Whenever Ohio State loses a football game, rarely is it, hey, fantastic game, great team we played. It's always, oh boy, the sky's falling. You know, Ryan Day needs to go, or the defensive coordinator needs to go, or this quarterback stinks, or yada, yada, yada. Douglas, where should the panic meter be for Buckeye Nation? Where should it be, and why?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, some of these, it drives me nuts sometimes to see the reactions. I mean, first of all, you just mentioned how raucous the environment was out in Oregon. Oregon from the beginning of the year has been ranked as a top 5 team. We go out to Oregon. Okay, we did not play well. We turned the ball over. We had dumb penalties. We blew the game at the end via time management, and we lost by 1 point. Now, the other thing to think about is with these new playoffs, this 12-team playoff, even if you get a bye in the top 4 seeds, you're still playing 3 playoff games now. We could play as many as like 17 games this year, even 18 if the Big Ten championship and we had to play in the first round. College football is not used to playing 18 games. There's been, one team in the history of football that's had to play that many games that went undefeated? So it's going to be hard-pressed to think that any team is going to go undefeated. And we don't have the benefit of playing in the SEC where we have – top 10 teams every other week, and it's just naturally going to happen. I hate to say there's any such thing as a good loss, but the way we lost that game and the fact that we did lose is potentially the best thing to happen to this team. I mean, I would think it showed them what we need to work on. It showed them the weaknesses.
Yep.
We're more than likely going to meet Oregon again.
Yep.
We've got big games coming up around the horizon. And to boot, I think that game, losing to now the number 2 or 3 ranked team in the country at their place
number 2,
by 1 point, probably ensures us even more of a lock to be into the playoffs, which ultimately now is the key. I mean, people don't understand college football is not like it used to be. 4 teams. The reason why these losses were so devastating is it only took 1, potentially 2, and you're done. Now we can breathe a little bit. We had a tough game.
Yep.
We learned from it. It's okay. We're going to get even with 2 losses. We're going to get in. It's all right. The meter should not be high. I understand it was another top 5 team that we lost to, but if you're going to lose one this year, it was the perfect game, to lose.
Completely agree. They're the number 2 ranked team in the country now, and deservedly so. I don't think any team wins the game in Oregon. I think Ohio State played as closely as any team would play. Not only did Ohio State have just not play their best, there was also a couple dicey calls, especially that offensive interference at the end of the game. Just perplexing that referee made that call right there. Will Howard is 1/2 a second late of going down, calling the timeout, giving us a chance to kick that field goal to win. So if we handle business, ironically, now Penn State is number 3 in the country. I mean, it's not like we're losing the MAC teams. So if we handle our business in Penn State, we'll see Oregon again in Indianapolis and neutral field. I don't know. Oregon's nasty though. Okay, so I think Ohio State fans need to just calm down.
There is a chance. I know when this first came out that everybody's like, "Oh my God, we potentially could play Michigan 3 times in a year." There's a chance this year we could play Oregon 3 times. There's absolutely a chance that could happen. So people don't need to lose their marbles over this one game.
I agree completely. All right, which leads us into this week's winners, my friend. We are going into, let's just say last week wasn't too good for your boy Case. The altitude, a lot of travel, not a lot of prep time. He got hooked on a couple of those games. The old hook got me, but hey, I'm back and ready to go with 6 winners here today. And I think you are too. Let's start with college football, my friend. What do you got?
Yep. Well, I'm going to recap our records here real quick because I don't think we had a chance to do that last week. Excuse me. In the pro division now, I'm hanging on at 9-8-1, so we're right there. But in college football, I'm 14-7. People, 14-7. So it's get those pen and papers out. In the pros,
it's pretty good.
In the pros, Casey's 10-8. That 0.5 point loss last week hurt you. You were that close to 11-7. Which is very, very good. So you've been hot on the pros. I mean, the NCAA, you're still catching up a little bit, but it's
got hooked on that
right there.
Kansas. Hey man, Kansas. I got the hook on 2 games last week. Kansas State. I had Kansas State minus the 3.5 against Colorado. They were winning by double digits the whole damn game, and they ended up winning by 3. Oh well, that's how it goes. I guess.
I think I mentioned you last week. You took 3 games at 3.5 points. I said, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. You had BYU.
Oh boy, I know it. I know. Oh, it's right. Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm on BYU, but they're tonight, so I'm not going to jump on them. Go ahead.
One tonight too. All right. So here you go. 3 games for tomorrow. We'll get this out tonight. You guys can get on these.
Yeah.
Game number 1. We're going in the SEC. All right. We've got South Carolina at Oklahoma. Line came out. Oklahoma was a 2.5 point favorite. It's down to 1. Oklahoma's a 1 point favorite. Oklahoma's coming off a disaster of a game at Texas. The morale of that team has to be just complete and utter distraughtness over there. Their defense is horrible. South Carolina, on the other hand, has been playing some very good football. They had Alabama dead to rights. They are a very solid team.
They should have won. They should have beat LSU. They should have beat LSU too. They're good.
Flat out better than Oklahoma. I mean, I'm gonna get a point or a 1.5 with South Carolina. Absolutely, sign me up. That's play number 1. My second play, going back to a team that both you and I have bet on this season. They are headed up to West Virginia. Now, West Virginia is a team that I have been down on all year. If you remember the season opener, you guys took them against Penn State. I loved Penn State in that game. Penn State beat the crap out of them. West Virginia's down a little bit this year. I know it's a tough place to play, but on the same token, Kansas State is solid. They didn't cover last week by the 0.5 point for you, but they had it covered most of the game.
They are solid.
They should be able to score very easily against West Virginia. 3 points is not enough. It's not enough. Give me Kansas State by 7 in that game. Kansas State's play number 2. The last game, there's a lot of good games I like here, but I'm going to go with the biggest game on the card. I know it's the game people want to hear about. We've got Georgia at Texas. Georgia, that line came out at 3.5. I think it got all the way up to 5 or 5.5. It's now kind of settled at 4.5. Georgia, the preseason number 1, the most preseason All-Americans in the country, going against Texas, who's been unbelievable. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they've played a couple different quarterbacks. They have not played anybody with a halfway decent defense yet. Excuse me. I just don't see it. I don't see how this game doesn't come down to the last second. If I had to just bet it straight up, I would take Georgia. So to be able to get 4.5 points, it should be a great game. But I just do not believe that Texas is invincible, and I think this is a game that Georgia needs more than Texas. So give me the Bulldogs plus 4.5.
I love that play. Kirby Smart. I love Kirby Smart. This is Georgia we're talking about here. And have they, have they been lights out? Have they blown everybody out this year? No. This is Georgia. You're going to give them 4.5 points? Oh, my goodness. Hey, in West Virginia, that coach down there in West Virginia, he's just holding on. He's trying to hold on until next year. You got old Scotty Fox right up the road from Mentor High School. You have Scotty Fox going to, I'm telling you, wait till you see this kid. Scotty Fox is going to West Virginia, but they're down this year too. So I like those plays, my friend. So for me, Douglas, this week the theme is big wins, Big Ten. That's my theme.
A lot of good games in the Big Ten this week.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to isolate. I'm going to focus. I'm going to narrow it down. I look into the Big Ten. I see three. Just it's almost like going through an apple, like a apple tree. What do you call those places where apples grow on?
An orchard,
Johnny, like an apple park. Yeah, like an orchard. I was going to say vineyard. That's where grapes are.
Well, you say you're going to narrow it down to the Big. You say you're going to narrow it down to the Big Ten, but that's still like 38 teams. So you got plenty to choose from.
Fair enough. Let's start with the defending national champion, Michigan Wolverines. Gosh, I tell you, I'm not sure if there's been a national champion in the last 20 years that has fallen off and has been less celebrated as the defending national champions as this Michigan Wolverines team is. And I will be taking the Fighting Brett Bielema's at home, the Illini getting the candy. It's almost trick or treat. Who doesn't want candy? Let's take some candy in Champaign, and let's take the Illini plus the 3.5 as the Wolverines come in licking their wounds from a loss in Washington. That's play number one. Play number two, I'm going back to my Hawkeyes, baby. I'm going back to my Hawkeyes because why? Because we're going on the road to Michigan State, a once very proud program. Okay, the Spartans playing in Michigan State at one time was a daunting challenge. It's not anymore, and I don't know why, and I don't know how, but it might as well be the Lima Senior Spartans they're playing. They stink. The Michigan State Spartans stink. Kurt Ferentz, the Iowa Hawkeyes, in those magnificent black and yellow uniforms, they're just going to go in there. They're just going to push, and they're going to push, and they're going to hit, and they're going to push special teams and hit and push in tight end university. They're going to win that game by more than 5.5. So we're giving out the candy in Michigan State. My third pick. I'm picking a team that I have not seen play one play. I really know very little about this team, but I do know a little bit about the team that I'm going against. The Lincoln Riley experiment, Douglas, in my opinion, the wheels are starting to get a little loose. Lincoln Riley clearly is an offensive coordinator. Every team he's coached as a head coach has been just so soft mentally, soft defensively. And we're seeing it again at USC. I mean, you can't imagine the athletes in that locker room, right? And this quarterback's a stud. The athletes on this team, they're studs, but they're soft. They're soft. And they're going across country. They're flying across 15 different time zones. They're going to play the Terps. I have no idea if the Terps are 0-80 this year. I don't know what they are, but they're getting the 7.5. It's going to be brisk. It's going to be a little cold on the East Coast. Maybe get a little rain. This is rain. This is the rain coming out. Give me the Terps. Trick or treat. I'll take the candy. Plus the 7.5. Those are my three plays, my friend. What do you think?
All right. Yeah. I mean, I always like dogs. I'm never gonna disagree with the dog. Never.
Well, there's one dog I can't. The one dog I can't.
That Illinois one. That one's tough. I mean, that should be a good game. But man, I feel like Michigan's the better team. But that doesn't mean they're going to cover.
They're getting points. They're getting points at home. So Vegas is saying that Michigan's the better team.
I mean, Illinois is tough, man. They've been playing solid. There's another Big Ten game. I mean, I'll tell you what. How about those Hoosiers of Indiana? Woo! Tell you what, they've been on
Hey,
fire. That coach, I love that
hey,
coach.
I do too. Hey, I do too. And they show
Yeah,
clips back when he got hired. The clip of him at the press conference says he goes, "I just win. Google me."
yeah,
How about that? Oh,
yeah.
oh.
He's.
Now, hey, Ohio State's got them now.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
mess around with that team. Oh
no,
boy.
no.
Whoo-wee. Hey. All right. So let's go to the NFL. Let's do it.
All right, so the NFL here, we got a pretty good card this week. The NFL, the injuries are all over the place. This is why I was saying, I feel like the beginning of the year, the first 2 or 3 weeks of the NFL are a lot easier than the middle of the year. You get so many injuries, but you got to follow it. If you stick to the patterns and you watch I'm telling you, the previous weeks of the NFLs, these professionals is paramount. Look for the teams coming off tough losses, going against teams that had big wins. I consistently say that, and it consistently tends to hit more times than it doesn't. But with that being said, I've got some interesting plays this week. I'm going to start off with a little teaser. We haven't done a teaser in about a month. I think they're 2-1 on this show. So we're going to do another one again with my teasers. I love to take favorites that I can get under 7 or under 3. I do not cross 0. I do not like crossing 0. Occasionally, it makes sense to take an underdog. But it just, there's a couple teams that fall in that window, which make it a perfect opportunity. Both these teams, I feel, will win comfortably. The line to cover is a little bit shaky, and I just feel much more comfortable making this as a teaser. It's play number 1 is the Rams and the Raiders. The line is currently 7. The Rams got Cooper Kupp coming back. Kyron Williams is healthy. On the other side, Devontae Adams just got traded out of the Raiders. Aiden O'Connell made his first start last week and looked terrible. They're going to give him another chance. Antonio Pierce is being exposed as the coach, as we said would happen earlier this year. It's not good in Las Vegas right now, and I feel like the Rams are a much better team, should handle business there. And I'm going to pair that with another team that's at home as an 8-point favorite. The Commanders,
Okay.
who we all know have been playing very, very well. They're 8-point favorites against the Panthers. I can get them down to 2. So really all I need is the Panthers to win outright with the Rams. I love that teaser play. So that's play number 1. Play number 2, we're going to go back to the Devontae Adams trade. Let's go. We've got the Jets at Pittsburgh. The Jets coming off a heartbreaking, crushing, soul-crushing loss to Buffalo on Monday Night Football. What do? They go out, they get Devontae, A-Rod's boy. Now they're going to Pittsburgh, who is 4-2, but yet they're making a quarterback change
Yeah.
to powder ball Russell Wilson here. Are you kidding me? Fields, who's been playing fantastic. So now you're going to have a little bit of a torn locker room in there. I don't understand what they're doing. The Jets are in the backs against the wall. They're feeling good with Adams coming into the locker room. I just like the Jets a lot in this position with the Steelers coming off that big win and the Jets coming off the loss. So the Jets -1.5 is play number 2. Final play, we're going to go to Monday Night Football, stretch this out a little bit, give everybody an opportunity to have something, on Monday night. One of the best trends there is out there, everybody knows it, home underdogs on Monday Night Football. They hit close to 60%. I'm going to take another one this week. You've got the Chargers coming into Arizona. Okay, the Chargers have been playing well. They had a dominant win. They drilled you last week, and you bet against them. A dominant win coming against the Cardinals. Cardinals had a terrible loss last week. They're 2 weeks removed from a great win against San Fran. Then they had a terrible loss last week. They're down. The Chargers are up. Now the Chargers coming into Arizona, and it's going to flip. I like Arizona to control this game on offense, and I think they come out with a victory and cover that line. There you go.
Yeah. I mean that would go with your philosophy because the Cardinals, they stunk last week. So coming off a bad loss, going into this week, I've taken the Cardinals a couple times this year, and boy, they've lost by 30 each time. Don't look now, sixth inning,
Stop
Mookie
taking
Betts
them
just
off.
went.
Stop taking them off a win, man. You got to take them off a loss.
Now how about this? I'm gonna stop taking them. Period.
There you
But
go.
the Dodgers, Mookie Betts just went yard. It's now 10-6 in the sixth inning. Playoff baseball. It's fantastic. All right, so to the National Football League, I go with my 3 winners. I'm going to start at the home of the Purple People Eaters. Dominic, the VP of Hype, diehard Vikings fan. My friend Dom, as you know, I would do everything in my power to be on your side and to root those. I love the unis. I love the purple unis. But this is the week. This is the week they fall. I'm going to take the Lions. Boy, the Lions are just
They're tough.
If there's something, they're tough, man. They
I'll
are a
tell you
tough
what,
football team.
I guarantee you, if Dom was on the show, he'd be in complete agreement. He picks against the Vikings every week.
I know, but he's
He'd absolutely blame the
irrational.
Vikings.
He's irrational with his, the Vikings could be up 35-0. They're gonna, he's about as bad as it gets.
And while we're on the Vikings, we'll give a little happy birthday shout out to the VP of Hype. I think he turned 46 this week, a couple days ago.
How about that?
Let's go, Dom. Happy birthday, bro.
Happy birthday, Dom. Right on, brother. Okay, so my play number 2, I'm going to stay in the NFC Central. Excuse me, NFC North. We're going to stay at Lambeau Field. The Packers, they're finding their groove. How about that division? How about the Vikings, Packers, and the Bears? Hey, say what you want about the Bears. Excuse me, in the Lions. In the Lions, yeah. Yep. So I'm going to take the Packers minus the 2.5. They're at home against C.J. Stroud and the Texans. I don't think it's enough points. I'll take Green Bay in the second game there. And then my third game is, why not go against Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce? Why not go against one of the best defenses in the league, 2-time Super Bowl champions? Let's go ahead, because this line stinks. That's why. The Chiefs are getting a 1.5 in San Francisco. San Francisco's been beaten up, battered, hurt. It's just reeks of Vegas wanting the public to jump all over Kansas City. Therefore, I'm going with the 49ers minus the 1.5 at home against the undefeated 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. Those are my 3 plays in the NFL, hoping to bounce back from a rather tough week last week. The old hook got me a couple times, Douglas. So there you go.
Yep, I like it.
Feel pretty good about those. And before we go, we've got a couple mailbag questions. I think the ladies and gentlemen out there would like a little dose of the mailbag before we go, Douglas.
I got to tell you, I must say the mailbag. So this last week, out of nowhere, I've had more people come up to me and say, "Hey, man, I noticed you got this podcast. Checked out a couple episodes. Not bad. I didn't even know you knew we had a podcast. So word is getting out there, but everybody verbatim, it's about the mailbag. They like the mailbag, and that's what they want, and that's what we got to give them.
Douglas, listen to me. You talk about we are now in 86 cities, 86 cities, 6 countries. Okay, I mean, who knows why? But men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So we are growing like a fungus. And yes, I would have to say that the mailbag has a lot to do with it. And let me tell you why. Let me explain this to you. Doug, people don't, here's the thing. Adults are very uptight about talking about sex and drinking. And those are the things that we talk about in the mailbag. So they want to listen. They're hoping that we touch on something perhaps they're going through. So, one more thing. I had somebody ask me if there are people out there that want to reach out and they want to make sure that it can be anonymous. I said, absolutely. They want to make sure that a lot of times I'll switch the names or genders on these questions. I may mix up the cities because I don't want the person the person that wrote it in, if you say their specific name and their specific city, they're going to feel like, oh my God, everybody knows who this is. I will mix it up for you, no problem. And it can be anonymous as well. So don't let that get in the way. I absolutely would never betray any of our listeners' trust. We're for the people. Doug talks about we are for you. We are voices for you. With
Absolutely.
that said,
and we've been and on that same token, I mean, we've been talking about some different things that we could do and some different segments and whatnot. And if some of our avid listeners have some great ideas, write us, email us, let us know what you think, and we're happy to look at any ideas, and we've got some good stuff coming out on the horizon here in the next few months.
That's right. Hey, we're only 6 months old. We're growing like a freaking weed. And remember, one of our taglines is where anything goes. So you email us, you let us know what it is, what your thoughts are, what your ideas are. We'll figure out a way to get it done. That's what we do. It's what Doug and I do. We're solution based. That's what we do for the people. Let's start with Lucas in Seattle. What's up, Lucas? Doug, this is for you. Should I be taking parlays or teasers? Okay, new to the gambling world, or just take straight bets? What do you think? You sound pretty knowledgeable.
Well, I mean, that depends on what games you're looking at. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for all of those to be beneficial. But as you've heard on this show, neither you or I are very big proponents of parlays. Parlays are fun, but they're not practical. They're not going to be consistent. There's nothing worse than taking a 3-game parlay and going 2-1 and just watching
Mm-hmm.
your money go down the drain. It's just not,
Yep.
in the long runs, it's not the way to go. Now, there are some certain times. For example, I took this teaser here today. Well, let's say, for example, that the Rams were 4-point favorites instead of 7-point favorites. I'm not going to tease the Rams down to +2 because if they lose the game, they're more than likely going to lose by more than 2 anyways. So it's just a way. I'm paying for points. I'm paying for points I'm not going to use. So
That makes sense.
in that situation, what I could do is I could then do a parlay with the Rams money line. So now I'm only paying for 4 points. I'm moving them from -4 to 0, and I can put them with another game I like. And so maybe it's the a team that's a 6-point favorite, and you could have teased them. You take them on the money line. You're probably still going to get better than even money on your return by doing a 2-team money line parlay in that situation. So if it's a teaser situation like that, it's better money for a parlay. That's one thing. Other than that, I don't recommend parlays a whole lot. But straight plays are typically going to be the way to go. And you got to slowly build that bankroll, and you got to be selective. And it's tough. I memean, it's tough to bet an entire card. You're not going to bet if you bet 20 games in a day. It's tough because if you go 10-9 or 10-10, you lose. If you go 11-9, you may barely win due to juice. So you got to be selective. It's kind of like blackjack. Like I don't bet the exact same amount every time I play blackjack. I feel as the cards are coming, what might be a better play. If I feel like I've got more value on a hand coming up as opposed to a hand I just lost, I may increase or decrease my bets based on that. And I feel like it's the same way with sports betting. And you've got to be smart about it. And if something feels good to you, don't be afraid to put a little bit more on it, and vice versa. You don't have to break the bank on every play.
Yeah, I was just thinking of an analogy when you were talking, like poker. It's like, when you play too many pots in poker, all the pros will tell you that's the quickest way to go broke. And the parlays, the reason why they're so enticing is you look at that payout. It's 6 teams or 5 teams. You see this big payout, but just like Doug just said, patience when you pick. You've got to really be patient when it comes to, if you're looking at the long game here, you're trying to win money. Patience is the key. You don't play every pot, like Doug said.
And the other thing I'd like to say on this is nobody, at least listening to this show, more than likely is going to be making a living on sports betting. So
That's correct.
you have to be smart in what you're putting on games and slowly build that bankroll. It's more of a marathon. It is possible to win money. It absolutely is. But you can't attack it like you're going to win it all in a week, because it doesn't work that way. And then it's too big of a hole to get out. You start doubling down, and that's where people get in trouble. So
don't chase.
About it. Yeah, be smart about it.
All right, Lucas, there you go, buddy. Doug knows what he's talking about. Hopefully that helps. And let's wrap it up here with Brian in Columbus, Ohio, 29 years old, girlfriend's 29 years old. Want to step my sex game up a notch and talk dirty in bed, but can't get the words out when the time comes. Maybe laugh because, pun.
Yeah.
Any advice?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, he's 29.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 29. She's 29.
Yeah, I mean, the bravado may not quite be there yet. I mean, it'll come with time. I mean, listen, number one thing is you got to feel her out a little bit. So you know the kind of woman she is. What she may respond to, what she may not. You may not want to come out with with the hammer right away.
That's right. That's right.
You're not dropping Menace to Society lyrics in the first step here.
Yeah.
Approach it a little softer. Approach it a little softer. Maybe see how that flies, how that goes over. And then you can kind of gradually build it up a little bit. But don't be scared. Don't be scared, man, because you're going to keep thinking about it, and it's going to get more and more. You clearly want to do it. So, do it. Do it. Think about it. Be smart. Be smart. You got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You want to take baby steps here. You want to, because, Doug and I don't know what thoughts you got in your mind, what words are going to come out of your mouth. There are some words that probably, you got to build up to, like, hey, donkey punch me. Stuff like that. Like, what the hell is that? I don't know. Might freak somebody out. But, you start with a little, I don't know, you start with something, You start with something small like, you feel like the nectar of the gods. And maybe she'll say, oh, I like that. Then you could say something like, your vagina is like an orifice to my soul, And then she might go, that's a little much. Then you know where you're at. But if
That
she
that
says,
doesn't
keep
sound
it coming,
necessarily like dirty talk, though.
you just got to start. Hey, if you want me to, I can
That's
lay
a
out
beautiful.
some real.
That's a beautiful poem you just wrote.
I can lay out some real. I've got some real filth I've heard in my
I
days.
mean, don't
I've
don't
heard.
give this
Hey,
guy haikus.
no, I'm not. Well, I'm just saying. I've had some women say some stuff to me that made me blush. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Hey, Brian, take it easy. Listen, don't be afraid to say a couple naughty words. Just say the naughty words. Say them in her ear, whisper. And if she says,
It's something you said. Something you've said before is, something to the effect of, "Remember, there's an animal in all of us," or something to that effect. Right? What's that
yeah,
line you like to use?
the line is there's just a filthy slut inside all of us, and it's true. Every human loves sex. Okay, it's true. It's in there. And just think of your words. Everyone loves sex. That's why people love the mailbag. People are so weird about talking about sex and their own specific, what makes them tick. But we'll talk about it for you. And if you got, if you could say something like, "Hey, baby, I'm looking for a rim job," say that in her ear. And if she goes, "What'd you say?" Just say nothing. I just cleared my throat. I was coughing. I didn't say anything. But she might go, "Ooh, you dirty, dirty boy, you." And then, and then the cage is unlocked. You see, those words are like the key to the cage of that naughty, naughty, sexual little animal inside all of us, and it's inside all of us. By God, if you don't believe me, like I said, maybe we'll put out a X-rated version of this podcast. But I've heard some stuff that'll just twist you up in knots, from people that during the day it's like, oh, you're a real estate broker, or you're a librarian, or you're the principal of that school. It's inside all of us, Brian, including you, including your girlfriend. So baby steps. Don't be afraid to let those words out. And again, if push comes to shove, just say you were coughing. She misheard you. No, I didn't say the P word. I was coughing in your ear. All right. So cool. Yeah. But I like to talk. Hey, I don't know about you, Doug, but I like to talk filth. I like to mix it up. I like to have them say different names. I do. I don't give a shit. I want them to say names. I want them to talk about exes. I want them to talk about the honeymoon they went on the third wedding. I mean, like, I want all of it. Bring all the smoke. I want all the smoke. All of it. That's the animal inside of me. Okay? That's the animal inside of me. Before we go, tell the people what to expect. Tell them they got some homework to do when it comes to Love is Blind season 7.
Yeah, that's right. You and I touched on Love is Blind before this. I mean, for those, here's the deal. Hopefully, most of you know, or at least have heard of Love is Blind. It is one of the best television shows, must watch. Fantastic. Season 7 just dropped. Season 6 is the one that just really took it over the edge. It was unbelievable last season. This is the one that hooked me. So now we got season 7 going on. Casey's already finished it. I'm halfway through. But starting next week, we're going to be recapping that bad boy on here. We're going to be discussing it. We don't want any spoilers for all of you out there. So make sure you're watching and catching up on that show, because it is awesome and it's worth being celebrated and discussed.
It's all about the pods, baby. Hey, the next I guess the next season, Doug, is Columbus and Cleveland. I guess they've already. Yeah, I don't know if it's both, but I know they were in Columbus, and
if they're filming now, we should do it. We should do a podcast outside the studio live one day.
Well, I can't figure out. I've heard conflicting things whether it's just Columbus or I think it's Columbus.
I bet you the Carrie Croft show's got an inside scoop. Find out where that's being recorded.
I just know some members here in Cleveland that were interviewed by producers. So I think it's in Columbus. But anyway, Love is Blind season 7. It is must watch, and we will be recapping because next week I think the weddings wedding day will have played. So all right, Doug, my friend, great job tonight as always, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, may your dreams be pegorific, and may all your showers be golden. Until then. Take care. God bless. And go Guardians.
Do you believe this stuff that's coming out of your mouth? There's no way you do it.
This was a credit card cuckold.
Love wins out in the end, you know?